Good morning, dear students. In the last video, we have seen about the bond dissociation energy and the average bond dissociation energy, its application. So, different types of enthalpies, different types of energies we have seen. In the past videos, we have also learned about the first law of thermodynamics. Today, we will learn about the limitations of first law of thermodynamics. So, let us first recall what is first law of thermodynamics. First law of thermodynamics says that the energy of the universe remains the same. Either it transfers from system to surrounding or from surrounding to system. But the energy of universe is the same. So let's see once again. Total energy of system or surrounding is all going to be conserved, or all the energy of the universe is sum total of all the energy of system and surrounding, or energy neither be created nor destroyed. So this is all about the first law of energy. But what is the limitations and why we are there to learn the limitations? Because what is not discussed by first law, that is to be discussed here. First law says about the endothermic and exothermic reaction. It also says us about the system and surrounding energy. But it does not say about spontaneity of reaction. What is endothermic? What is exothermic? Heat absorbs, heat release. What is system? The reaction which is under our observation, and apart from that observation, what is the other portion, that is surrounding, and the exchange of energy between system and surrounding. This is also explained by first law. But what is the spontaneity of the reaction? That is how the reaction occurs, and that too on its own. That is not explained by the thermodynamics. So spontaneity means reaction takes place on its own. Ice when kept out, that means after refrigerator, if ice is kept open in an atmosphere, it melts itself. This is not explained by the first law of thermodynamics. By itself, that means on its own, spontaneous. Water in a beaker starts evaporating if left for few days in an open. It starts evaporating itself. If two gases are kept together, they will start mixing on their own. Acid and base, when mixed, neutralization takes place on their own, that is the spontaneous. But sodium chloride, water, when reacts together, they will not easily give acid and base, or we can say acid and base will not produce on their own, so that reaction is non-spontaneous. One more example I have given here. If ball is allowed to fall from upstairs, it will easily roll down on its own. No more force or energy is required. That is termed as spontaneous reaction. But if the same ball is to be rolled up back, then lots of force of energy is to be initiated, which is non-spontaneous. So about this spontaneity, spontaneous and non-spontaneous, thermodynamics, law of first thermodynamics has not given any idea. And from all these examples, we can say that processes may be of two types: spontaneous processes or non-spontaneous processes. A process is in which forward reaction takes place. Forward reaction, it means the reactant reacts and take the reactants to the product, then that is the forward reaction, and it takes place by its own. Then it is spontaneous reaction, where two way it takes place: one where initiation is required and one where initiation is not required. So let us see some example where no initiation is required. When sugar is added to water, and if it is kept aside without any stirring, if not stirred even for a while, then also it starts dissolving. Here no initiation is required. H2O liquid kept in sunlight, after a while it will start evaporating. That means initially in atmosphere it starts spontaneous reactions. Nitrous oxide, colorless, kept in open, it reacts with oxygen on its own and starts giving white vapors of nitrogen dioxide, where initiation is not required. This is a spontaneous reaction, no initiation required. Now here let us see, for certain reaction little start or little ignition is required. For example, if coal or a wood which contains carbon is reacted with oxygen, then ignition is required. Then it burns and gives carbon dioxide, right? And if carbon dioxide is there and if it is burned, carbon and oxygen won't be available. So that is non-spontaneity. Sorry. If water is given little electric spark or electrolysis of water is taking place, hydrogen and oxygen will be separated. So here little start with the electric spark is to be given. So such type of reactions are said spontaneous, but where initiation is required, right? And the next type of reaction is non-spontaneous processes. Spontaneous processes, just we have seen that either it takes place without initiation or with initiation. But forward reaction takes place and substance is taken from reactant to product. But non-spontaneous, it means reaction will not take place. Non-spontaneous processes are the processes which are not going to take place. I just give example. When carbon dioxide is ignited, it will not give us carbon and oxygen separately. Reaction is not going to take place. Sodium chloride and water when mixed, acid and base is not going to be produced. That means reaction is not going to take place or process is not being carried out, right? So this type of processes are non-spontaneous. Even when we want to throw the ball upside back to apply force on opposite direction of the ball flow or fall of the ball, then that is also not easily possible. So all these are the non-spontaneous reactions. That means reaction does not take place. Now for spontaneity, how far we can say that the spontaneous process will take place? If the spontaneity is there in the reaction, that means the reaction takes place from forward, that is forward reaction, that is from reactant to product. Then how far it will take place? So let's have an example that we have a bulb over here in which gas A is filled, and here is also one bulb in which gas B is filled, and both of the bulb are closed here. From this side also it is closed, from this to both side also it is closed. So at this moment gas A will remain in A bulb, gas B will remain in B bulb. But now when ends are open, on opening the ends, what happens? Here the end is open, here the end is open. Molecules of A, as they are gaseous, they will start moving here. Molecules of B, they will start moving here, right? Here two things take place. Because of the space between them, they can easily move, right? That means they can exchange their energy. See, I am using, because of the space, they can easily move here and there. That means the exchange of energy takes place. These energy and movement of here and there are the two factors we are going to discuss further just now. So here what happens? A and B will mix till both becomes equal. A to B and B to A is possible till the space is completely equally occupied by them. This is the stage we can say that they attains the equilibrium. And the question is how far it will take place. So answer is the spontaneous process will last long till it attains equilibrium. And before equilibrium, the reaction will keep continuing. Thus, for spontaneous reaction, some force is working which takes reactants as products, or we can say which takes reactants to the products, or we can also say that the force drives substance from reactant to product, and which is termed as driving force. Thus, driving force for the spontaneous reaction or the spontaneous process is depending again on two more factors. Let us see here. See, suppose this is one cliff going from up to down. We have a ball from here and which will roll down. So what happens here? From here the ball will have a maximum energy and will roll down in a down manner, and when it come here on the base, it will be stopped over here. So here if we say that if I put just ball over here, will it be stable? No, it won't be stable because it is a cliff having a slope downwards. So with the maximum energy, it will roll down. So energy here will be maximum, but stability of the ball will be very, very less. But now when it comes from the base, now no more rolling down is possible. It is on the equilibrium. So energy is minimum, but stability is more. Here it will become more stable. Right? So maximum energy here means energy is released. That is exothermic and negative. Exothermic reaction, so delta H will be negative. So one of the energy factor gives us the idea that exothermic reaction delta H will be negative. So to be spontaneous, substance should be under influence of two factors. One is the energy factor from maximum to minimum, and one is the randomness. Randomness, that means to move freely, right? Randomness, that is disorder, to move freely. So what is energy factor? Energy factor is behaving as a driving force for a substance to be from the reactant to the product. All those processes which are exothermic and the enthalpy is negative are spontaneous, but there are limitations in decrease of energy or the system losing the energy. And what are those limitations? Limitations are many endothermic are also spontaneous. As told here that exothermic reactions are spontaneous because release of the energy. But there are endothermic reactions and they are also spontaneous. The example is water in a solid form converts to liquid. No losing of energy takes place. So it is endothermic, but it takes place on its own. So it is spontaneous. Same thing, liquid water converts to gaseous. It is positive, that is endothermic, but still it is spontaneous. So this is the limitation of the energy factor of the spontaneous reaction. Most of the exothermic reactions, they do not go to completion. As it is exothermic, loss of the energy takes place in a large extent, and because of that, sometimes the reaction completion is not taking place. So that is also a limitations, right? And the third is most of the reactions are reversible, then they should be endothermic also as well as exothermic, right? Here it is told that energy factor gives us the idea about the release of maximum energy, so reactions are exothermic, but most of them they are reversible, and if they are reversible then the reactant will go to product exothermic as well as product will give the reactant, so it will be endothermic also. So this is also the limitations of the explanation of the driving force energy factor. Thus, energy factor is not only a factor for the spontaneous reaction, and that's the second factor is randomness or disorder. And due to this randomness only, as I explained, that the energy releases but along with the stability, and stability is difference because of the moving away of the molecules, that is randomness. Everybody has a tendency to go out randomly if get chances, right? It may be human or animals or birds, or here we will talk about atoms and molecules. As I have given examples for you people, if in the school recess bell rings, the students will run out of the class in a disordered manner, or you can say randomly. They will not wait for anyone, just they will leave their bench and they will start moving. What is this? This is disorderly movement or randomly movement, right? But when it happened, when there is a chance, so chance is must, and when it takes place, a space is there, then it takes place. Same thing takes place for atoms and molecules when they go out disorderly if get chance or a space. So, as I told, the spontaneous reaction takes place. Water in a solid form converts to liquid. But not only because of the energy they are able to convert to solid to liquid, but because of the randomness, the second factor. Solid has fixed space among themselves, but liquid has little more space, and because of that, the solid are able to convert to liquid, and in liquid they can move here about where the randomness increases. Same thing happens with liquid when converts to gas. Again, very far apart molecules, so there also randomness increases, and because of the increase in the randomness takes place, reaction takes place in the forward way, that is reactant to product is possible, right? In one more example, sodium chloride, an ionic compound, when mixed with water, they dissociates. Ions dissociation takes place and movement increases. Why movement increases? Because sodium chloride is solid, there is no space, but as soon as water is added to it, water being liquid, it provides medium with more space, and as soon as the more space is given to this sodium chloride, they will dissociate into ions, and thus forward reaction takes place. Thus, driving force for any process is to go from one state to another or from one system to another. Then two types of factors are depending, that is energy factor where system lose energy, enthalpy is negative, exothermic reaction and spontaneous, and second is randomness where molecules are taken away. Or in other words, we can say that effect of both these factors, energy factor and randomness, are responsible for driving force. Driving force means substance starts reacting from reactant to the product. Basically, both these factors have tendency to act independently of each other. They are not dependent on each other. Suppose energy factor will work, then only randomness, or randomness work, then only energy. It's not like that. They are independent of each other. They work in opposite direction. One takes molecule apart from each other, one loses the energy of the system, right? So, when reaction can go in forward reaction, then sum total of both energy and randomness should be in such a manner that they can drive reaction. So, in short, from all this we can say that if energy factor and randomness are favoring the forward reaction, then reaction driving force can also favor to the forward reaction, right? And it will take from reactant to product for which certain conditions is to be maintained, which we will discuss in next video. By the time, thank you.